Okay. So till yesterday we were dealing with how the IoT architecture is, and based on which what is the simple architecture, and we have also compared at about 5 architectures. Am I right? Yes or no? So we yesterday we have compared at about 5 architecture. So today we are going to see the second module, where the first one is the core IoT architecture that we already completed. There are at about 4, right? Including the business, it will be there in the core IoT architecture. So today we are going to see about the IoT data management as well as the compute stack. Okay. So it will be involving the infrastructure, as well as it will be involving the processes which are needed to handle the vast amount of data. As we will be dealing here with huge amount of data which is generated by the connected devices, we will be taking into consideration of all this. So for which the data management is necessary. Okay, so it will be including the data acquisition, storage, as well as processing, analysis. Then it will be using the utilization which is there for the actionable insights, as well as the control which is there. And the particular stack which we'll be using here, this stack is viewed in 2 parallel layers. Okay, the first one is the IoT data management, and the next is the computing stack. Okay, and also we'll be having the core IoT functional stack, which is what we are going to see here. So, which will be helpful in making the decision making purpose, and it will be supporting the real time monitoring, control, as well as analytics. And in addition to, it will be handling the security, as privacy, as well as the reliability issues. So as we are dealing with in the IoT data management, we'll be having the first main thing which we'll be having here is the things. Okay, things, or else the IoT devices which we'll be using, or the edge devices which we'll be using it over here. So this will be including the physical devices, as we saw earlier, the sensors as well as actuators, right? As that is what we learned about the definition about the things which is there. This will be collecting the data which is from the environment, and through the connectivity, or else the network layer, that is the next foremost layer which we will be having here, right? So this particular layer which is there, which will be handling the communication protocols like Wi-Fi, cellular, or else the Bluetooth. And we'll be having the network infrastructure, which is, for example, gateways. So through the gateways we can filter it, or else the backhaul. Okay, so that are all the things which we are using for transmitting the data. And as we'll be handling here the data, we'll be handling and we'll be putting that under the data processing as well as the storage. Okay, so this particular layer which will be focusing on how the data is processed, how it will be analyzed, and how we are storing those particular data. So it will be involving the edge computing, for example, the localized processing, as well as cloud based processing that we saw yesterday, right? So for the large scale analysis, we will be going with the cloud based processing method. Okay, so or a combination of both the methods, cloud as well as the localized processing, both we'll be making together to work with. And we'll be processing those particular data, and we'll be making any analytics which is there in any form. And then we'll be it is also useful in storing those particular data. Okay, and we'll be analyzing, as we are analyzing the data which is based on its analytics which we'll be making, this particular data which is there, the process data which is there, that will be transformed into some actionable insights. So For example, when we'll be connecting that in some company or industry where uh, temperature is a crucial concern which we need to think about. So in such cases we'll be having some threshold, and based on the threshold which is there, we'll be analyzing. When it is reaching that particular threshold, then that is a critical issue, right? So in such means, what we'll be doing, we'll be moving towards that particular company, or else when we'll be fitting that with our industry, for suppose. And if that is the case, then if it is reaching the threshold, automatically some other that is further actions need to be done. Okay, so that are all the actionable insights which we'll be making here. So it will be involving various analytics techniques like descriptive, prescriptive, or predictive. Okay, so in some mechanisms we'll be going with the descriptive. In some other cases where we'll be having some previous history, and when we'll be mapping with that and taking some that is action based on that, we'll be going with the predictive. And prescriptive also we'll be going with. So all these particular things will be helpful in making the insights. Okay. uh, so, in this particular consideration, we'll be taking that with different layers. The first one is the data generation layer. As I told, it will be capturing all the real world data. Okay, so for example, the sensors or else the actuators, it is fitted in some places. And as I told here, the industry which is there, their temperature might be a crucial concern. And in that particular concern, we'll be checking about those particular things with the help of the sensors, and we'll be making some necessary actions according to this, or else we'll be fitting the RFID tags either in the that is the cows or ears, or else in some other shopping malls and all. In such places too, we'll be capturing those real-time data which is there, and based on which we'll be making some necessary actions. So here I have quoted the temperature sensor or humidity sensor or motion sensor. So in cameras or somewhere else where the motion is important thing which we need to notice, in such cases we'll be using the motion sensor and we'll be making use of it. And the layer 2, which is accommodated with the data transmission, where we'll be transferring those particular data from on devices to the processing units. For example, the technologies which is used over here is MQTT, then COAP, HTTP, 4G, 5G, Zigbee, Wi-Fi. So in all such things, you might be well familiar with the Wi-Fi, right? Yesterday, even I have told an example how it is transferred and how we'll be making use of this particular Wi-Fi to connect with the thing, and through the Wi-Fi we'll be making the connections. Okay, so for which, as I told the uh, as I told you yesterday, we'll be having the Arduino Wi-Fi. Okay, so with the help of that Wi-Fi board, we'll be making use of it, and we'll be preferring this. So MQTT is message queuing telemetry transport, which is a lightweight open source messaging protocol which is widely used in the internet of things, and will be as it is very efficient in resource constrained environments, like if we'll be taking into concern about what all the resources which are there, and through the resources we'll be managing the things. In such places we can make use of this MQTT, and it will be utilizing the publishing subscribe model which is there, which will be enabling to communicate with the with each other indirectly through a central broker which is there. That is what which is happening in the publish or else the subscribe model. So in this particular this is the way in which it will be communicating, and it will be known for the things were known for the environment where resources are major constraint. Okay, and uh, here the need for the real-time data exchange is permitted over here, and that's how we'll be making use of this particular protocol in our places, or else in the IoT based platforms. And the next is COAP, where COAP is the constrained application protocol, which is a specialized web transfer protocol, which is designed also for the resource constrained devices as well as the networks which is there in the Internet of Things. So it is also a lightweight alternative to the HTTP, Hypertext Transfer Protocol. That is the next one which we are going to see here. And it will be optimized for low power as well as low bandwidth environments, like those which is found in the smart homes, or else in the industrial automation, as well as in the sensor networks. So it is using the UDP, that is connectionless, as a transport protocol, and request as well as response model is followed over here. And these are all some of the key main features which we can quote with when we'll be going with the COAP. And the next one is HTTP, which is Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Already you might be knowing little bit about it, right? And the hypertext transfer protocol, which is used in the application layer protocol, which is there for IoT, where the communication between the devices as well as the server is mandatory, and it is also following the request response methodology. And we'll be having the clients like IoT devices, and it will be sending the request to the servers, and the servers which will be sending back the responses. In such scenario, we'll be using this particular HTTP, which is working well for the Internet of Things. And here too we'll be having the URLs. Okay, so uniform resource locators. So that are all the that is the resource identification which we'll be making use of it. So this particular URLs are helpful in identifying the resources which is on the server. Okay, and the next is 4G as well as 5G. You might be knowing better than me, right? So that is another methodology in which we will be making the transfer protocols which is there, and through which we can transfer the that is the messages, uh, and we can make use of it. Okay. So 5G, which is the one which we might be using it now, right? So which will be significantly enhancing the IoT capabilities which is there compared to the 4G, as you all know well, right? By offering the higher speeds and lower latency as well as greater capacity for the connected devices which are there. And when we will be comparing with the 4G, 5G will be offering the higher data transfer speed than the 4G, which is crucial for the applications which is requiring the real time data processing, because it needs the higher bandwidth. So these are all some of the protocols which we will be using. The another one which you might be knowing well, that is Wi-Fi. In addition to, we'll be having the Zigbee protocol, right? So Zigbee is a wireless communication protocol which we might be using widely in the Internet of Things applications, where especially for low power as well as low rate devices, we'll be going with this kind of Zigbee protocol. And it is a web, that is mesh networking, which is followed over here to communicate with each other, as well as it will be creating a robust self-healing network which is there. So it is commonly used in the places where we'll be having the smart home, as well as the industrial settings and in the healthcare applications, we can very well use this particular platforms, right? So it is robust as well as it is a self-healing one. As I told in the previous case, it is in the Zigbee itself is a robust as well as self-healing network, right? So, as we are that is leading with self-healing means, it is a self-healing network is a network infrastructure that which can automatically detect, diagnose, diagnose as well as resolve what are all the errors which is there, network issues, without any human intervention using AI as well as the automation. That is called as the self-healing network. So it might be that is improving the network performance at as it is a self-healing network, and but the operational cost, that is repairing everything, that will be getting reduced when we will be using this self-healing network. And it is also robust when we will be going with this particular methodology or protocol which we will be using. Okay, so it will be helpful in having the reliability too. And the third layer is edge as well as fog computing. So when we will be dealing with the edge as well as the fog computing, it is the local processing which is close to the source, as you all know. And it will be using the devices like Raspberry Pi, Jetson Nano, Fog Nodes. Okay, so all such things we'll be making use of this particular local or edge or fog computing which is there, and with the help of which we can make use of this particular networking. So in the case where we'll be using the edge as well as fog computing, it will be reducing the latency and it will be conserving the bandwidth. So it is edge as well as fog computing is a crucial one which is there in IoT, Internet of Things, by bringing the processing power which is close to the source, right? Data sources, and it will be reducing the latency and it will be improving the efficiency. So edge computing, which will be involving the involves the processing of the data at or near those particular devices, while in the other hand, fog computing, which will be extending the cloud by adding a layer of intelligent devices between the edge computing as well as the cloud. So that is how we can differentiate it. So how it is working, that is in if any data is there, the data is processed locally by the device itself when we'll be going with the edge computing, and it will be processed. But in the case where we'll be having the fog computing, it will be receiving the data from the edge devices, it will be processing it, then it will decide whether to send it to the cloud or else uh, we can store it locally. So that is the difference. So edge computing, it will be doing all the processing by itself. But in the case where we'll be having the fog computing, it will be receiving the data from the edge devices, processing it, then decide whether to send those particular data for to save it in the cloud, or else we need to store those particular data locally. Okay, so that is the difference we'll be having with the edge as well as fog computing. So here the real time data detection is possible when we'll be going with this edge computing. And the next is the cloud computing concept. Okay, so in the case where we'll be having the cloud computing, it is a centralized processing which we'll be making use of, and it will be using the advanced analytics. Yesterday even I have told you about the dedicated cloud platform which is there for IoT, right? So ThinkSpeak IoT is one of the dedicated platforms. The other one is Firebase Cloud. Okay, so that are all the two main cloud services which is offering, which is towards this cloud platform. And as we know, cloud computing in IoT, which will be referring to the integration of the cloud technologies with the IoT which will be helping us to store the data, process the data, as well as analyzing the data in a huge amount. Okay, so it will be enabling the scalability as we saw in the two day before, that is scalability, real-time data processing is possible, then efficient management of the IoT devices are possible. So these are all some of the uh, things which we will be making use of when we'll be using this particular device. In addition to, we'll be having the cloud computing, which will be providing the infrastructure, and it will be allowing the IoT devices to connect, communicate, as well as to exchange data, which is efficiently. Okay, and here we'll be having some of the platforms like AWS IoT, Azure IoT Hub, then Google Cloud IoT Core. So these are all some of the places where we can store the data. And yesterday we saw in a detailed manner why we are for what we need to go to those particular platforms based on their user experience, right? And the next is data storage. So long term as well as real time data storage is possible when we'll be going with this cloud, that is with this IoT. And the types of data storage are in the influx database. We'll be having the time series databases. It is the time series database where we can make use of it. And as previously we were using the new SQL, and now MySQL, now we'll be using the new SQL, where MongoDB is one of the platforms which we'll be making use of. And the next is the data lakes, where we'll be using those particular storages, and through which we can store the data, right? So these are all some of the storage devices which we will be making use of it in the IoT. And uh, the IoT data storage which is there, which will be involving the massive influx of information which is there, which will be including the appropriate storage solutions like databases, data lakes, as well as cloud storage. That are all the three things which we saw here, right? So it is based on the data characteristics like speed, size, diversity, and the application needs. So based on which we'll be choosing the particular storage devices. And we'll be thinking about the scalability, real-time processing, as well as the security concerns, right? So based on all such things, we need to first understand what is the data characteristics which is there. So based on volume, or else the velocity, variety, veracity. So based on all such things, we need to think about it. Volume is it is the IoT devices which is generating vast amount of data, which will be requiring the scalable solution, right? So velocity is one where the data streams which is there, which might be at high speeds, which is necessary for the real-time data processing and storage capabilities. And in the case where we'll be thinking about the variety, it will be the IoT data which will be coming from various formats. It might be a semi-structured data, or structured data, or unstructured data. That are all three types of data which is there, right? So based on which it will be demanding what need to be the flexible solution which we can make for those particular thing. And the next is the, which I told was veracity, right? So, based on the veracity, data quality, as well as the reliability, or the crucial things which we need to think about. And when we'll be thinking about those particular concept, we need to mm, think about its accuracy as well as the decision. Okay, so that too, or another major concern which we need to think about when we'll be going with this kind of storages. Okay, so as I told, the first one is the time data, where we'll be making use of the influx database, or else the time scale database, which will be helpful in storing as well as analyzing the data with respect to the timestamps which is there. Okay, and the next is the NoSQL database, where we'll be using either the MongoDB. The another similar thing is Cassandra. Okay, and so here this both particular types which is helpful in that is handling the unstructured as well as frequently changing data. Okay, and the next is the relational or data lakes, where we'll be having a centralized repository for storing the raw data as well as unstructured data, which is often used for long term storage or else the analysis. So this is how we'll be storing those particular data, and we'll be making the analysis suitably. And the next is layer 6, where it will be fully dedicated to the process of analysis as well as the visualization. So, in the case where we'll be having thinking about the analytics as well as the visualization, where it will be turning the raw data into some actionable insight. So, for example, as I told in the example of an industry where it is fitted with the temperature sensor, there in that industry, temperature might be a major concern. And when we'll be using those particular data which is there, then based on the temperature which is generated from there, we can make some actionable insight. So the tools which we are using here is Power BI or Tableau, so many kinds. Okay, output we will be getting as a alert message, or else a report, or else a dash, or else in a dashboard, when we'll be designing in such format. And the last layer which is there is the application as well as the decision layer. So here the end users will be getting the service as well as the automation from here. And for example, smart agriculture system. So in the case where we'll be having the smart agriculture system, where the drones or some of the methodology will be, or else we'll be fitting with the sensors, and with the help of the sensors which is fitted over there, it will be spraying the insecticide, or else it will be checking the soil humidity, and through which it will be finding what is the humidity of the soil, or water content which is there, and based on which the water will be poured then and thereby. And these are all some of the automations which we can make use of it in all the fields. So there will be the three or four parts which is there in the as we are concerning with the agriculture system. So based on those agricultural system, we will be making use of this particular concepts, and we will be analyzing it. And the next which is there is the home automation applications, where we'll be fitting inside so many home automation systems, and through those applications we'll be benefited with thinking about the that is the automation, whatever which is happening over there. So it will be supporting the real-time control, as well as it is helpful for making some taking some decisions in the business. And as I told in the first slide itself, these are all the cross cutting concerns. Okay, so security is one of the major concern which we need to think about, where data encryption is one which we need to think when it is a crucial application which is through the communication. And next is the access control, who are the persons who's eligible for getting those access control and who are not eligible. Okay, and the next is device management. So with the help of the firmware updates as well as the health monitoring, in all such cases we need to manage those devices properly, accurately, so that the resources or persons who are involved with over there, they'll be getting benefited with and getting the right thing in the right time. And next is the governance, where data, the privacy of the data is the major concern. Uh, so we need to think well about, and we need to handle it properly in a secured way, so that the privacy will be uh, a consistent thing over there. And the next is the compliance. All such things are the major concern which we need to think about under the governance. And as a conclusion, I can tell about the stack diagram, which is there in labeled way, where we'll be having all those layers one above the other: the data generation, data transmission, edge or fog computing, cloud computing, data storage, data analytics, as well as visualization and application and decision layer. And the IoT data stack enables the end-to-end functionality, where each and every layer which is there is vital for scalable, secure, as well as intelligent IoT system. And the integration of edge computing as well as cloud computing is the key aspect, where we'll be merging together. We'll be thinking what all the processing which we need to do in the edge devices, and what are all the data to be stored in the cloud by analyzing through the fog computing. So this is a step-by-step procedure which we'll be making use of to store those particular data onto those particular platforms. So answer the attendance now.